Hi. Do you guys remember me? My name's Anthony. This is the front of my cemetery. So, things got kind of crazy. A lot of weird stuff happened. So I was not able to continue vlogging for a while. But here I am. And here's the front of my cemetery. I'm running very, very far behind because the same reason I couldn't keep vlogging kept me from being able to do all this. So I'm running very far behind. But this is actually not what I'm here to talk about tonight. So as I'm sure you are aware, it's Friday the 13th. And it's also the grand opening of a local haunted house called Charleston Screams. Charleston Screams is a charity haunt, and it's actually put on by some really good friends of mine. Last year was the first year that they did it. I'll link to last year's video where I went to go check it out. And it's a historic haunt. Living in Charleston, there's a lot of history in this city. And it's kind of unique what they did with this haunted house. Instead of just being like the traditional sort of scares, they mix in like history along with the scares. And it's a really cool concept. And as I said, it's put on by some really good friends of mine and their family. And I was talking to them a few days ago, and they gave me permission to go tonight and bring you guys along for the ride and show you what it all is like. So that's where we're headed. Unfortunately, Emily cannot go tonight. She is busy with some family stuff. So who knows, maybe we'll make a second trip later on with her. But for tonight, I'm a lone wolf. So this haunt is actually located inside of a shopping mall, which is a little bit out of the ordinary, but kind of adds to the whole little unique twist of it, I think. So as I said, tonight is the grand opening. So I suppose it's possible that there will be a bunch of people here. Doesn't really look like it though. And in any case, they told me that they would give me a private tour if necessary, so we'll see. Alright, here we go. Oh, there's stuff on the ground. Whoa! Hey! You got me. Whoa! It's a lot darker this year. I don't know where I'm going. That was awesome.
Get me out!
This is awesome.
Wrong way.
Oh.
down. Eat that food. That food. Here, choose food.
Oh. Am I going the right way?
That's the exit.
Alright, thank you. That was awesome. There was no tour guide this year. Last year they like walked you through and showed you what you're supposed to look at, and there's no tour guide. I got lost like 3 times in there. That was crazy. Hey, I'm gonna come back around. But I talked to them and they said it'd be cool if I go through like maybe after the lights are back up and do a, whoa, it's really bright, and do a sort of like behind the scenes look. I think that'd be pretty cool. So I was here last year, but I didn't really show the behind the scenes or like introduce you guys to the people who do it. So this year they said that I could go through like a behind the scenes with all the lights on and everything and introduce you guys to them and them to you. Obviously there won't be any actors or anything. I think as soon as these lights came on, they were all like just booking it out. But yeah, he's gonna take us through and show us kind of like the meaning behind each scene, because like I said, this is a historical haunt. So.
Hi, my name is Zachary Wright. I'm president of Charleston Screams, and we benefit Sean Jenkins Children's Hospital. 10% of our proceeds go there. Tickets are only $10, and this is our haunted house. We're gonna take you through a little bit of kind of behind the scenes look at some of the finer details that you may have not seen every time you go through, but we'll show you and take you behind the scenes, some of the history behind each room. So first, we come through the swamp, and the swamp is the scene where you get to see one of the most cryptid creatures of South Carolina, and that is the Lizard Man of Lee County, and the Lizard Man escaped Ore Swamp. We have this water pad here, and in the dark it's very difficult to see, but they're usually called like a puddle pad, and when you put your foot in it, it sinks down, kind of simulates a mud puddle or kind of a boggy feeling, and all the bugs can pop up if you step too fast. And we've got lots of fake roaches and spiders, and really just kind of trying to do that. For people who are afraid of those kind of things, it just kind of freaks them out. Then we have more spider webs and generic things, but right here we have, this is where the Lizard Man actually sits, and I believe this is actually his mask. And we have our costumes. He sits in a ghillie suit, and actually sits right here, so it's really hard to see him up against this background. It's made of the same kind of material as the suit, same colors and everything, so he blends in really well, very hard to see, especially in the dark. And we usually have some fog going through here, as well as some music that can be heard elsewhere throughout the haunted house. We try to get some thunder and lightning and bug sounds, being a swamp. And when you're walking through, he kind of gets you with this. It's an air compressor. It makes a hissing noise, and he'll kind of get you with it. Kind of just, it can startle people. Sometimes it pulls their clothes a little bit, kind of blows it, and also kind of simulates a snake noise. So him being the Lizard Man, it kind of gives a good feel to it. And this is kind of the Lizard Man's nest, and while also just kind of being a cool way of integrating some bones and kind of showing the Lizard Man, you know, might be a human ear and things of that sort. It also just kind of a finer detail people kind of overlook, but we're kind of using it as his kind of where he keeps his collection of dead things. And then you come here and you turn this corner, and usually back here behind this mat we have a this tarp, we have a scarecrow. And he's just kind of your typical South Carolina scarecrow. There's really not a specific story behind him, except that he's kind of just a crazy backwoods guy who dresses like a scarecrow and is going to kill you. Then you come through here, and as you get through here, of course in the dark it's very hard to see the transition from what you're kind of here. You can see that there are planks of wood on these scene setters. You're kind of entering the Hoodoo Daddy room. And the Hoodoo Daddy, or his name was Johnny Domingo, and he was basically a Hoodoo priest, which is kind of the Gullah version of Voodoo. And so this is Mark, he's our actor who plays Johnny Domingo. And this is kind of our setup there, so we try to, of course, bring in a lot of the Voodoo aspects. all the potion bottles and spell books, and just give the good feel. Ouija board, all the spiritual stuff that is associated with that kind of thing. So, and Mark does a great job. And these are some of our actors, some of our awesome volunteers, and they play all of our great characters. They do. And then you take a turn here and you go to the freak show. And as you can see, while some of our freaks are kind of your still mannequins, props, some of them aren't. And the actors can get you. And the freak show is just kind of a play on the Charleston circus. Charleston was one of the earliest places in America to host circuses. And also, it's kind of a freaky fact, it actually was, back in the day, opened very near the Charleston Asylum. So we kind of like to play in that there's psycho individuals in the circus. So here we have then the escape free, and that's where one of our stairs comes from. So as people are kind of walking through, they're seeing all this elaborate show, all the elaborate freaks and the props, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, where did this one go? And that's when one of our scare actors comes out right from this doorway, and they scream at him, come out and crawl and scream at him and get him pretty good. Then you take a left here and you go up the stairs. This is one of our awesome volunteers, one of our security, who helps steer people in the right direction.
I got lost several times going through here.
Yeah, but that also adds to the fright. So then you just keep walking through here, and the first opening you come to is Blackbeard, or the Pirate Room. And these are some of our awesome pirate ladies, and they come out of that little coverage there, that little closet, and they get you kind of from all sides. So we try to get you good. This is a mannequin prop. It's kind of, in the dark, it can look pretty real, and even if it isn't real, it's a good focal point. People get distracted, they're looking at it, they're like, oh, is that a real guy? Is it a fake guy? In the meantime, these guys are waiting until they get about here, and they come out and that's good. And these are some of our really cool props. We really do enjoy setting this room up. And Blackbeard's flag, and sails, and all of his victims that he's hung. And of course, Blackbeard held the whole city of Charleston hostage back in his day, looking for medicine. And he just basically parked his ship in the port and wouldn't let any ships come in or out until they gave him his demands. And once they did, he just left. And he actually left one of his pirate friends there, and he actually ended up getting hung here in Charleston. Blackbeard got away. And then here's our clown room. And as you can see, some of the balloons have popped. And that's, of course, a scary noise, and they can get kicked up in your face. And of course, this is another part of that Charleston circus. And we have lots of clowns in here, so everybody seems to really enjoy it, pun intended. And these balloons can get kind of kicked up on you and get kind of freaky. So then over here we have our awesome actresses, and one of whom plays the Legree girl, who, of course, is a very prominent ghost in Charleston history, who was buried alive in a mausoleum, woke up. She was really in a coma. They pronounced her dead, and then she realized that there was no way to get out. When they opened the tomb 14 years later, they found her bones in front of the door and all her scratch marks on the door. And now every time they put a door on the tomb, it just flies off. So that's kind of a creepy story. So
it's cool. Also, side note, I'm so sorry I went up here. I didn't mean to go up here earlier.
And then we have one of our security guards again, who helps direct people down these stairs, which can get kind of dark, especially when all the lights are off. And we have our nice little message left here, "You're next," with some bloody handprints, so that's always encouraging. And then, of course, we make it to the Charleston jailhouse. And who more notable than Lavinia? Lavinia Fisher. And she was probably the most prominent character in Charleston history. She was America's first female serial killer. And she actually served people oleander tea, which is a flower, right? And while it can be beautiful, it's also extremely poisonous. And so She would poison people, and then as they would sleep in their wonderful slumber, of course, yep, they would pass out, and her husband or herself would gently visit them that night and chop them into pieces. And then they caught her, and they found the bodies in the basement where they would store them, and they put her in the Charleston jailhouse. And it was there where she stayed, and they told her that she was to be executed. And of course, little known fact in Charleston, you could not execute a woman if she was married. And so they very kindly executed her husband first. And if she wasn't married, she was a widow, and they could execute her. So then they were going to hang her, and they asked her if she had any last requests, what would they be? And she said she wanted to wear a wedding dress. So she put on a wedding dress, and they took her out to the gallows, and as she walked, quite a crowd emerged. Of course, you could tell it was a scandalous story for the time, and they were all watching her, and she kept wanting people to marry her. She was asking everybody to marry her, and of course, nobody would. And then, right when she was on top of the gallows, she just told everybody that if they had a message for the devil to give it to her, for she would see him sins. That's always a great story, and she can get you good. And then we enter the next room, which is Ellington. Ellington Incorporated was it was just a little quiet community, and as you can see here, we have population 792 people. And in 1951, I believe it was, they were all basically federally evicted because they were going to convert their town into the foundation of the Savannah power plant, nuclear power plant, which would, of course, help in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and continuously our nuclear power production and nuclear weapon production, especially during the Cold War. But, of course, we take a little bit of a different twist on it, and we have made it quite a radioactive zone. So we make this Charleston's own little nuke town, and this has been one of our awesome actors who does this, as well as this gentleman here, that you can tell, quite intimidating in the hallway there. And so we have this nice fallout shelter, and of course, these individuals, while of course there are mannequins to give the government a good idea of what radiation does for people, we have had some people, some citizens of Ellington, who were not willing to leave the federal government's demands, and so they were radioactively made into monsters, some mutants. And so we have where they strung up a nice gentleman there who probably was here to originally help them, and then we have some nice victims here, obviously some cannibalism going on. And, of course, in the shelter itself, there are your mutants. And they do an awesome job. They get people pretty good. We have quite the variety back there. They've had some radiation contact and didn't make it through very good. These are our nice little bodies. Provides a nice little thing to have to walk through. And then we make it to the children's asylum, which is the last part of the haunted house. And these are some of our awesome actresses who play some of our scary children, and they can do some awesome backbends that can be really scary. And yeah, so Charleston had one of the first children's asylums, and it's just kind of a creepy thing to mix kids with asylums and scary toys. So we really like to play that up. So, and then you can come back here, and that's the end of the haunted house.
Nice. Man, I am thoroughly impressed. And you're only 18 too.
Yes, and thank you very much.
Awesome job. Hope you guys keep it up, and I will be back every year.
Well, we hope to invite you every year and have you down.
So there you go. That is the Charleston Screams Haunted House, put on by some good friends of mine. It's really impressive. The storyline behind each room, I think, is really impressive. And like I said earlier, hopefully we can come back a second time with Emily so she can experience it. I know I haven't been doing great with these vlogs recently. Lots of crazy stuff came up. But I am back, and I thought, what better way to come back than to go to a haunted house on Friday the 13th in October. And tomorrow we will start back with our regularly scheduled vlogs. I gotta show you everything I put up so far, all the progress I've made. I got a lot to catch you guys up on. So, with that being said, I am off for the night. So, as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.